Okay, it's 10 o'clock and back from B-Dubs about an hour ago, give or take a few. Actually, the reason why I took a little bit longer than normal to shoot this, well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, this morning I had to be at work at 11, so that really didn't allow me time to do it this morning. Obviously couldn't do it at work, and went to B-Dubs as soon as we got off work tonight, so that didn't work, and that's the reason why you're getting this video so late. But there's a lot of things to talk about, because apparently, not just the fact that I have 72 emails, which of course most of them are spam as normal, but still, a lot of things have happened in this day actually. Do want to talk about a couple of things. First, I want to bring up Disney Springs. And I know this is a Raw recap video, and I totally understand exactly what we're supposed to talk about, and we're supposed to talk wrestling right now, and we're going to, trust me. We'll get to that in a minute. But I do want to bring up a couple of things real quick. We're going to talk Disney Springs. And basically, there was supposed to be an announcement made today announcing the turning in Downtown Disney into Disney Springs. And of course, we've been waiting forever for an announcement about Pleasure Island, and we actually somewhat got one. It's actually supposed to be announced tomorrow. Apparently, because of the weather today, it was postponed. It's supposed to be tomorrow is what I'm hearing, but it might be later on in the week when we actually get the official announcement. But apparently cast members were told today a little bit of pertinent information that I'm going to share with you guys right now. So if you don't want to wait until tomorrow to find out everything, I'm going to break it all down for you right now. So apparently this announcement will include the following. Downtown Disney will soon be renamed to Disney Springs. And the theming will be that of a beautiful, lush, old Floridian feel featuring lots of new waterways, water features, and shade. Okay. There are going to be 2 new parking garages constructed. One will be on the Marketplace side and one on the west side near Cirque. Now, this will free up space taken by the existing ground level parking to be used for new restaurants and shops. You know, shop and eat and shop, and the Kevin Lansbury way of thinking. World of Disney is being expanded, and I'll explain how that's going to go in a few minutes, actually. Many new restaurants and shops are supposed to be added, with most being new to the Orlando area. Now, the big picture that was posted on Save Pleasure Island blog that everybody was talking about, these would be the businesses, the food businesses, and the retail businesses coming into the new Disney Springs, might have been jumping the gun a little too fast, because I know everybody was barking out about the fact that we're supposed to get an Apple store, and there's a lot of really awesome food experiences, not necessarily restaurants, just food experiences that are only certain places in the country, so bring it all to Orlando. But they may have jumped the gun there because nothing has been officially announced yet. But we'll probably get to that later when Skaggs makes his official announcement tomorrow, if it is tomorrow or if it's just later on in the week. Now, apparently another thing is going to be a walkway bridge constructed from Rainforest Cafe to the T-Rex area to improve guest flow, okay? And another thing that's been announced, Captain Jack's is going to close. Captain Jack's will close, but thankfully all current cast members will be relocated to other restaurants. This, of course, information given to us by WDWMagic.com. Now, another thing I want to talk about real quick is a couple of things that were announced as well. This is according to Save Pleasure Island Blogspot.com, which is a site that I frequent rather frequently. Now, of course, everyone knows it's going to be called Disney Springs, and we've seen all this prospective artwork, and we've seen all the pictures that are watermarked to see what we're going to be getting, this version, this brand new Downtown Disney that we're getting. Pleasure Island is going to be renamed as The Landing. Here's another thing. We're talking about the parking garages. And one thing that's going to be done as well is they're closing Pollo Campero, which of course closes Bodie's All-American Cafe and Baby Cakes New York, which I think, due to the popularity of Baby Cakes around the resorts, obviously the cupcakes that they sell at the food stations and the food courts, basically like the freezer cupcakes they have, like the 4 cupcakes, those are incredible. I think they will continue, and I think there'll be a new space for baby cakes, but I think Pollo Campero and Bodie's All-American Cafe are gone, 100%. They're going to demolish that building. That is how they're going to make World of Disney expand. That's exactly how they're going to do it. And another thing they're going to demolish is Pin Trader's location. So obviously, this is the best place on property to get pins right now, is Marketplace. So obviously some things are going to have to change. There's going to be a brand new pin trading location and a brand new pin trading store, which is going to have everything, since they're not going to have it in Marketplace any longer. Earl of Sandwich is supposed to be remodeled, and it's going to expand as well, because of obviously it's one of the most popular counter service restaurants on property. That's the reason why Disneyland just got it as well. So apparently, according to this, by midsummer there will be heavy construction taking place in the complex. And another website posted the information that construction will take between 16 and 19 months to complete. Like I said, they're announcing names, but they haven't really announced official words on what we're getting at the new Disney Springs. There's a lot of hearsay right now. A lot of people think they know what they're doing, think they know what we're going to get, but no one's completely sure. So basically, they're saying that it's going to be taken care of sooner rather than later to start the conversion to Disney Springs. So I'll check on Screamscape real quick. I have some information on Screamscape, and we are trying to get the buzz right now. Where is it here? There you are. So information will be announced tomorrow supposedly, so we'll figure that out. I know there's a lot of people that were talking about the closing of Planet Hollywood. They'll bring in the observatory was the rumor that we heard. But it's not a guarantee right now, because apparently what's going to happen is they're going to revamp it, but they're going to keep some of the same menu items. So obviously you're still going to be able to get your favorite Planet Hollywood meals in a different location. The same location, but a different venue altogether when it comes down to it. Because there'll be brand new everything around. And I guess it's going to be themed towards the observatory. So we'll get more information from that later, and obviously I will do a video to talk about Disney Springs' official announcement when everything breaks. So we'll talk about that. Another thing I want to discuss about it, actually, this is interesting because this brings up Universal Studios. Apparently there was an announcement today that I found out about the... Where are you? There you are. About the Simpsons expansion. And basically this news broke today. Apparently this is exactly what we're hearing right now. This area is currently under construction. Obviously Universal finally, very soon, is going to be completely out of construction, except for the Harry Potter expansion, which still hasn't been announced by Universal Orlando yet, but hopefully we'll get that announcement sooner rather than later. Now, the spinning flat ride that we heard about is going to be given a sci-fi theme, and it will be named after our favorite Simpsons aliens, Kang and Kodos. Now, apparently there's going to be a Duff Gardens facility with VIP seating for Cinematic Spectacular. So that's going to work really well on that. We're supposed to get more Springfield icons. Obviously, we're going to see the Jebediah Springfield statue, and most likely there's going to be random food carts replaced by Simpsons-themed food trucks. So that's going to work really well. We might even get a Lard Lad Donuts, which is going to be awesome. We're going to get the ginormous Lard Lad statue. And out front will be Police Chief Wiggum's squad car parked out in front on top of a fire hydrant, of course, because it's Chief Wiggum, so it has to be parked on top of the fire hydrant. Now, apparently there's going to be a new meet and greet location between the right exit of Simpsons and Quickie Mart. Here's the official list that we're hearing right now. Now, International Food and Film Festival closed down to be revamped into a Simpsons food court. Now, here's what we're hearing as of this very moment. Now, this may not stay the same, or it may get better, it may get worse, we don't know yet, but this is what we're hearing as of this very moment. The unofficial list, from left to right, according to this, from the Quickie Mart, is General Chang's Taco Italiano. We are getting Moe's Tavern, which we have seen the pictures for. Obviously, it looks phenomenal. We are getting a Krusty Burger, which, like I said, we've seen pictures of it as well. And apparently we are, yes, getting Kentucky Fried Panda. So all of these iconic Simpsons-style restaurants will be there. I don't know why we're not getting, I don't remember off the top of my head. what I think is like the pirate captain or something like that. Why is his restaurant staying gone? He has like a seafood restaurant, the pirate captain does, so I don't know why that's not being brought into the food court. But then again, IFF is a smaller building, which of course you can make bigger, so I can understand what they're doing with that. Sounds awesome. So Springfield expansion, there's no date on when it's supposed to open, but I look at the facades and I think it's sooner rather than later it's going to open. I say before 2013 is over, we will see the Simpsons expansion open in USF, so that's what I'm thinking at this point. Now, another thing I want to talk about as well, obviously, and I say this every single time, and I'm going to say it again, I do want to give props once more to the Tim Tracker for being the reason that we do these videos, the reason I decided to do these videos in the long run, and I want to put over something as well. Tim has a brand new channel on YouTube that I actually want to put over as well. I just watched the trailer, and this looks phenomenal. It's Tim and Aaron Chiz, which is The Chiz Show. That's his YouTube channel. And basically, they are doing something called Noob vs. Pro, which are going to be playing video games. One is obviously advanced, and the other one is just starting out. So, if you go to YouTube, it's Noob vs. Pro is the channel. That's N00BVSPRO. So, Noob vs. Pro, check it out if you get a chance. Obviously, check out the Tim Trackers as well, because Tim is awesome. Literally, he's literally called Mr. Awesome. That's his name on here, which is really funny. It's the Tim Tracker, so basically, check that out when you get a chance to, guys. So, Tim, you're awesome. I can't wait to meet you guys in September or December, so hopefully we can work that out. But, so that's our theme park news we have on the horizon. Don't have any information on HHN 23 yet, so when I get some, obviously, I will pass that along to you guys. So, there's always that. Now, let's talk Monday Night Raw. And what an interesting show this was. We're 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, and of course, one of the things we wanted to do immediately was to make this about the unfortunate passing of William Moody. And there was a lot of recollections of former moments from his illustrious career in the WWF and even in the WWE. So it was really awesome to see most of that done. And we knew exactly what was going to happen from the moment that we heard about this. Was this going to be turned into fire for heel heat for CM Punk? And yes, exactly it was. And I think, honestly, with the veteran that Bill Moody was in the business, I honestly think he would have said to do it, because obviously Jerry Lawler wanted his real-life tragedy to be turned into an angle to get more heat on CM Punk, so they went with that again, and they didn't go far. They went far, obviously. He's a despicable human being, obviously, but when it comes down to it, they didn't go as far as they could have, so that was good. So, obviously, we started off the show with the moment of silence, and basically, after that, we started Raw with a really awesome video package about the career of Paul Bearer in the WWE, and it was amazing. And basically, we open up on Raw with the gong going off, lights go out, here comes The Undertaker. He walks to the ring, he kneels down as the Titantron shows the in memory of William Moody, aka Paul Bearer. And the second that's done, Cult of Personality starts and CM Punk comes to the ring. So, Punk basically says, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences about your loss at WrestleMania. Immediate heat right there. Another thing he further goes on to say is like, in Paul Bearer's eyes, you will always be perfect. But for everyone else, you will always be 20-1. And that one is me. And there is a lot of heat on Punk right there for that, just doing that itself. In 4 weeks, Taker will be 20-1. After WrestleMania, there will only be tributes to Taker's broken streak, and years from now, people will remember where they were when Punk broke the streak. So the crowd just goes insane on Punk right away. and Taker is basically staring a hole in him. So basically, we find out from a graphic that we're finally going to see Seth Rollins' WWE in-ring match, official singles match debut against The Big Show. But apparently, on WWE Active, which of course is connected to that evil WWE app that they love to put over, and this is not the only time you're going to hear about WWE Active tonight. I'll talk about that later. So apparently Kane came off extremely pissed about Punk's disrespect of Kane's late father. Obviously, we're playing up the fact that Kane and The Undertaker, they basically had Paul Bearer as their father in the storyline perspective, so it makes total sense why Kane would go completely crazy. So he grabs Punk and chokes the life out of him, tries to choke slam him off the stage. Punk escapes and charges to the back. So Kane charges after him, storming through the locker room, demanding to know where Punk is, and he basically throws Alex Riley over a table. How awesome. Alex Riley gets on television, and what happens? He gets launched by Kane. Okay. So we get to our first match of the evening. So the Shield comes out, obviously. Basically, Reigns and Ambrose are out with Seth Rollins. And Rollins seems kind of hesitant to enter the ring as both Reigns and Ambrose take a side of the ring, respectively. So Rollins does take the fight to the Big Show early, or he attempts to, but basically he gets shrugged off and tossed to the outside onto Ambrose, which looked awesome, by the way. Show decides he's going to take the fight to all the Shield, so basically he tosses Reigns into the barricade, and Ambrose and Rollins jump him from behind. So Show gets back in the ring, and Ambrose is putting the boots to him. Show fights him off, and he catches Rollins off the ropes with the Goozle. He's getting ready to go for the choke slam, but Reigns comes out of nowhere, nails the spear on the Big Show, and the next thing you know, they pick them up for the triple powerbomb, and bam, the Shield reigns supreme in the start of Monday Night Raw. And once again, they make this announcement numerous times on the program. Who will be the one who's going to stop the Shield? And you know, they've already set it up, basically, that it's going to be Sheamus, Randy Orton, and The Big Show against The Shield at WrestleMania. So, at this point, I think we start booking that match, so we actually get to actually announcing it, so we can start promoting it, and we can get another match on the card. Because right now, at this very moment, all we have is a World Heavyweight title match, a WWE title match, and Undertaker and Punk. And that's it. That's the only thing that's been announced for WrestleMania. And WrestleMania is 4 weeks away. The biggest pay-per-view of the year. 4 weeks away. We have 4 announced masters, Triple H and Brock Lesnar. But it wasn't official until next week, because obviously that's when Triple H will make the announcement of if he accepts the conditions of Brock saying yes to the match at Mania. But we'll talk about that later, and we will talk about that later. The match went 40 seconds. Obviously it was a no contest because of the Shield interference. So Punk storms into Bricky's office, demanding that a lid be put on Kane and his actions. So Vicky's angry about the blatant disrespect for the memory of Paul Bearer, so she puts him in a no disqualification match with Kane. Punk will have to beg for mercy from Kane, and I think that he is fresh out. Yeah, pretty much. So up next, we see Daniel Bryan, and he's going to be facing Dolph Ziggler. And anytime I get a Daniel Bryan-Dolph Ziggler match on free television, I'm a happy guy. So basically what happened was on Friday Night SmackDown, it was Alberto Del Rio against Dolph Ziggler, and Ricardo threw the water on trying to nail Big E with it, and he nailed AJ instead, so she got soaked from head to toe. And basically, she had an altercation with Daniel Bryan in the back, basically saying that he's only Money in the Bank, and Daniel Bryan was World Heavyweight Champion. Her retort was, he lost in 18 seconds. And the response to that, very PG, mind you, was the fact that being with Dolph Ziggler, she should get used to 18 seconds. So, yay, zing, right there. So, obviously, that's why we have this match. Here is our second contest on Monday Night Raw. So, basically, this didn't go as long as it could have. But I'm going to go back from the commercial break, and after the commercial break, we're going to go to the finish. So, Dolph comes back, as usual, he has his headstand headlock applied. So Bryan fights out of it. He catches the dropkick attempt and he launches Dolph into the turnbuckle. Bryan fires back up. Dolph reverses the whip. Bryan floats out of the corner and hits the lariat out of the corner. Bryan has kicks to Dolph. He ducks the third kick, the buzzsaw kick, but Bryan nails this one and just lands him with the other foot for a very, very close near fall. So Dolph goes for the sleeper. Bryan snaps out of it. Both men exchange roll-ups for numerous 2 counts. So Dolph blocks Bryan in the corner with a back elbow and goes up top. Bryan stops him, goes for the belly-to-back superplex. Dolph counters into a crossbody. 1, 2, and kick out right at the last second. Bryan catches Ziggler with a no-lock, and AJ distracts the ref as B. Langston drags Dolph's foot to the ropes, and of course the ref makes the break. And Dolph catches Bryan with the name dropper and gets in close near fall. Now here's the thing. I understand why you use the rocker dropper, the name dropper, the famouser. I understand why Dolph uses it. But when you have Billy Gunn back in the company, wrestling on the same show, you don't use his finish as a transitional move. It makes no sense whatsoever. But then again, Dolph's a show-off, so he wants to do it better, so I kind of understand where he's coming from there. But anyway, he gets the near fall. Bryan goes for the no-lock again. Dolph rolls out of it again. Bryan charges, gets flapjack into the ropes. He basically got stun-gunned into the ropes. He hits the zigzag. 1, 2, 3. What a match. It went 11.5 minutes. And it was awesome. And like I said, anytime I get Ziggler and Bryan on my screen, I'm a happy guy. When it comes down to it, these two can go. They're great in the ring together. And Dolph Ziggler, my God, needed the victory. I hate the fact it came out of Daniel Bryan's expense, but he's not even on the WrestleMania card yet. Neither is Ziggler, but then again, Ziggler is the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, which means he has to look strong going into Mania because everybody thinks he's going to have a cash-in on the World Heavyweight Champion after their match is over. So I think that's the direction we're going to go. So AJ nods to Big E Langston, and he picks up Daniel Bryan, and he lands the big ending, which is that over-the-shoulder power slam fallout that he does, which looks absolutely horrible. So AJ and Dolph share a little makeout session, and they look on and laugh. So we go behind the scenes next to Triple H's journey back into the ring to challenge Brock Lesnar, chronicling both his time in the gym and watching on as Vince recovers from hip surgery. So we get back from the commercial break, and of course, our slam of the night in this case is last week's Old School Raw, where the Honky Tonk Man basically took out Heath Slater with a guitar shot, and dancing old school with Sweet Tea and Brodus Clay. So, tipping scales, really. Anyway, so up next, Sweet Tea's in the ring, of course, with Cameron, Naomi, and Brodus Clay, and he's going to face off against Fandango. Yes, once again, Johnny Curtis demands that the man come out here. Is demanded to come out here. So Fandango's lady friend dances saucily out first, before Fandango comes out himself. He says, once again, he will not come down until his name is pronounced right. Okay, so here we go again. He considers Brodus and Tensai both an insult to dance, even to the Midwest, who don't know a thing about the arts. He asks that Naomi announces him, because she's the only one with any rhythm. And Tensai grabs the mic and says, Fandango, get out of here now! And tisk tisk, Fandango says, once again, he will not wrestle until his name is announced correctly. Once again, Fandango is not competing on Monday Night Raw. So, like I said, there's a lot of directions to go with this. I like Johnny Curtis. I do. I think he's a great worker. And I like the Fandango character. But when it comes down to it, there's a problem. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors right now that The Office have soured on the Fandango gimmick, and he may not even debut at all. Then again, if you go back to when Brodus Clay was supposed to debut, he got the runaround over and over again until the Funkasaurus made his debut. Not the monster Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus, and the babyface at that. So it may just be a matter of time before we see Fandango in the ring, even though he's been working the house show circuit with Ted DiBiase lately, which obviously won't be his first feud in WWE because, sadly, Ted DiBiase is not on television right now. But that sucks because Ted DiBiase is awesome, and I really wish he would work more often on television. So up next we have the Rhodes Scholars, or as I like to refer to them, Mustachio and the Beard, teaming up once again against the New Age Outlaws. So our Paul Bearer moment is Paul Bearer's return at WrestleMania 20. And brilliant as always. I love seeing him come back. So our next match in the ring, Rhodes Scholars against New Age Outlaws. God, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to do this right in the middle because this doesn't do it justice. This was one of the funniest segments I've seen in a long time. And I actually want to do it word for word verbatim. And you know what? If I don't, it's going to do it a very hardcore disservice because I really want to say this word for word. I have to go back and read it here. I hate doing that, but I have to. Where is it here? Come on. Yes, there it is. All right. So, of course, Sandow's coming out to the Hallelujah Chorus, as usual. And he comes out and he asks for some silence. So, him and Cody basically say... This is great, by the way. They say, the following interpretation is presented by taste and good form. Basically saying, they do the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the normal steez. And Sandow asks the crowd if their posterior needs to contact someone. And if you're not down with that, they have 2 words for you. You're welcome. Gold, Jerry, gold. So this mockery ceases when the Outlaws come out. And basically they say real quick is like, very clever ladies. And basically says, ask the crowd straight up if they're ready. Dog goes, Lord have mercy, this one's for you, Percy. And he points to the ceiling, obviously. It's a very respectful thing to do for Bill Mooney. And they do the NAO introduction as normal. And, of course, Billy takes the mic. If you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you. Everybody in Indianapolis yells out "suck it" at the top of their lungs. So, we get to our match, finally. Which, in this case, was between, like I said, the Rhodes Scholars and the New Age Outlaws. So, basically, Cody and the Road Dogg start out first. So, Cody gets locked in the arm wringer. And he starts juking and jiving. He drops him with the right hand. He basically drops the knee. Sandow tried to get involved. He gets sent over the top. Cody sends the version of the Beautiful Disaster, but this time like with a knee strike instead of the kick. And here comes the pain starts. And here comes Brock Lesnar. Lesnar and Paul Heyman charge to ringside. Lesnar, yellow shoes and all, coming to the ring. And Cody just powders out because he's smart. So Lesnar gets in the ring. Of course, he does his dance on the ramp like he always does. So Billy Gunn jumps him right away, trying to get a leg up, and he basically gets pounded. Brock hits his knees to the head and face, picks up Billy Gunn, and F5s him. Road Dogg is still down. He picks up the Road Dogg and lays him out with an F5. So, less than 2 minutes in this match. Once again, another no contest. But it was done for storyline purposes, so it makes total sense. So Heyman mocks the notion that the game is on. Lesnar doesn't play games. He hurts people. He destroys people. Paul Heyman wonders what Triple H must be going through. With Triple H's arm being broken by Lesnar, Vince's hip broken by Lesnar, Stephanie crying over his father's condition because of Brock Lesnar, and now Brock stands tall over the last vestiges of Triple H's friends and family, the New Age Outlaws, sprawled out, thanks to, who? Brock Lesnar, that's right. So Heyman has an answer for Triple H's challenge. He says yes, a very emphatic yes. But there's a catch, there's a caveat to this. Basically, they'll accept on the condition that the stipulation will be named by Brock Lesnar. And Triple H will not know said stipulation until he signs his name on the dotted line. Heyman once again has 2 words for everyone. He says, Brock Lesnar. Yes, I wanted to say that way. So we go to another commercial break, and we find Kofi Kingston in the ring. So we know right away he's probably going to lose. And yep, here comes the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, to the ring. So Kofi tries to get a little bit of offense in, and he's striking fast and early, and once again he gets trapped in a bear hug. So Kofi fights out of a slam, but he gets grounded with this side kick from Henry that literally knocks him all the way to the other side of the ring and through the middle ropes. That was brutal, to say the least. So basically Mark Henry gets out of the ring and he charges Kofi, but this time Kofi smartly slips out of the way and Henry hits the ring post, so that works fine. So Kofi dives on Mark Henry and he actually knocked him down, so Kofi's in charge for a change. So Mark Henry rolls back in. Kofi goes for the crossbody, you know, the frog plancha crossbody he likes to hit, and Mark Henry just literally picks him up, catches him in midair after this plancha, mind you. World's Strongest Slam, done the party. So 2 minutes and 18 seconds, Mark Henry wins. And after that, we see Cody Rhodes, Mustachio himself, backstage with the Divas champion, Kaitlyn. And of course, he uses the old, I must stash you a question. And because that works for him. Because he has that mustache. So obviously, it does work. But it doesn't work this time. Kaitlyn and Cody fumble over their words slightly before Damien Sandow comes in to rescue us all, taking Kaitlyn's water, says, I was thirsty anyway, and says, you know, since this match was canceled tonight, Damien has found a more suitable pair for them to spend the night with. The return of Nikki and Brie Bella. The Bella Twins returned to Raw last night. So, I'm sure John Cena and Daniel Bryan are happy again on the road, but that's another story altogether, and that's not purely speculation. That's 100% fact. So, they're basically back to fix the Divas division. Too bad this didn't happen before Karma left the company. But they want to get... They're getting all handsy with Rhodes and Sandow, and Kaitlyn runs off in a huff. So, Vicky welcomes back the Bellas, but the double date will have to wait until later because Vicky found a replacement for them to face tonight. Randy Orton and Sheamus. So, out from the frying pan into the fire. So the next thing we see is Ryback. Yay! We all know how much I really don't like Ryback. And of course we put over the Big Show's upcoming appearance on Psych, which looks really interesting. Not. Anyway, say what you want about the Big Show, he is very entertaining when he's very comedic, and he was really good on SNL. I thought that was really awesome. He has a great personality, and it shows really well when he does stuff outside of the WWE. Anyway, Ryback's in the ring, and like I thought, right away, he's going to face one of 3MB. You know what? He faced one of 3MB. But not who I was expecting. I was expecting him to face Jinder or Drew, but he didn't. He faced off with Heath Slater. And basically, he just killed Heath Slater legitly. He picked him up, military pressed him, hit the meat hook, hit the shell shock, 1, 2, 3. 1 minute, it's over. So, McIntyre gets in the ring, and he gets laid out with shell shock. So Mark Henry struts his way to the ring, and of course, everyone is clamoring for Ryback and Mark Henry at WrestleMania. And it looks like it actually might happen, but I'll get to that in a minute. So basically, they're having this tremendous stare down in the center of the ring. So, in the midst of this, Ryback picks up Drew McIntyre again and gives him another shell shock. So, Mark Henry's like, okay, I can do better than this. This is what I do, and he lays him out with another World's Strongest Slam. So, they're exchanging words, and God knows what that conversation sounded like. And the referee's trying to break it up, and of course it's not going to happen, but we are going to see Ryback versus Mark Henry at SmackDown this week, okay? I'm hoping for a no contest or something to give me a reason why this match has to happen at WrestleMania, because this is the match I want to see at WrestleMania. If you're going to utilize Ryback, you have to put him against someone that it looks like can possibly beat him. And Mark Henry is on the type of role right now that he could possibly beat him. And I really want to see how he is going to be able to get Mark Henry up into shell shock. And I'm sure all of you want to see the same thing as well. And I don't know if that'll happen or not. But we go to Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez and trademark Scott Keith. They're walking! So champion versus champion is up next as Alberto Del Rio will face off against the United States champion Antonio Cesaro. So we preview The Call, which comes out this Friday. Obviously, The Call stars Halle Berry, Abigail Breslin, as well as David Otunga and Morris Chestnut. They're cops, so there you go. But anyway, we got our champion versus champion match. Before this match starts, ADR gets on the mic and says, "You know, I may have been born in Mexico, but I was made in America." Okay, that works really well considering the fact of who he's facing right now. A little bit cheesy, but it works for this program. Honestly, I think it really does right now. And anything you're going to say against two turncoats like Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger is going to work in this situation, obviously. And the fans are buying in about Alberto Del Rio's babyface turn. I think he's a great babyface. I think ADR is awesome as a babyface. And you forget a lot about the aristocratic, Mexican JBL gimmick he used to have, and the vehicles and all the ambiance he used to have. Now, I like him better as a babyface. I think he works better as a babyface. And since Rey Mysterio is basically breakable by just touch, at this point, you have to have a strong Mexican babyface for obviously working shows in Mexico and different countries. And when it comes down to it, ADR is exactly what you're looking for. So we start with the match, and ADR goes for the arm wringer, and he gets started into an arm wringer, but he counters this time with a Hurricane Rana. Alberto goes for a crossbody, only gets a 2 count, so Cesaro nails him with a European uppercut, drops the knees, and only gets the 2 count. So ADR falls and hits his head on the corner as Cesaro takes the control. So Cesaro's stomping away, and Del Rio fights out, but Cesaro takes him back to the corner, and it's a ginormous running uppercut for a 2 count. So Del Rio makes the comeback, hits clotheslines, and of course his tilt roll backbreaker. So Del Rio hits his super kick to the jaw, the one where they're getting up to their feet, and he hits a super kick to the jaw. Only gets a 2 count this time. So Del Rio goes with those shots to the kidneys, those forearms to the back. Cesaro was tied up in the ropes. That's what he's been doing a lot lately since he became a babyface. Hitting those shots to the kidneys and then hits the backstabber. This time still only gets a 2 count. So Del Rio goes back up top, but Cesaro nails him, lands a giant uppercut, and only gets the 2 count, but barely gets a 2 count. Almost with a 3 right there. So Cesaro ran over him again, goes for the German suplex. He gets countered, reverse into the cross arm breaker, and the tap out. So we see Josh Matthews in the back with Kane. And Kane basically is just holding Paul Bearer's urn. Dead silence, not saying anything. So Josh goes, "This must be a trying time for Kane." Kane just looks off in the distance. And we hear some loud Mark Goof in the back yell, "Say something!" Yeah, how about we say something about we beating you in the parking lot for fun? Because that's really, really disrespectful. But then again, that's just how it works. IWC, what can I say? But anyway, so after our commercial break, we're going to get another special preview from Rock and Cena. Now, Letters from the Sky begins to play, so we see The Rock triumphing last year at WrestleMania 28, of course. Fix the damn E, as for you, Will. How it's eating up John Cena so much that it's affected him to basically cost him his personal and professional life, including, of course, his divorce he just went through. And how 2012 was one of the worst career years for John Cena since he became a superstar. From what happened at Extreme Rules to Survivor Series, and then out of nowhere, Cena won the Royal Rumble, and now he has a second chance to right the biggest wrong of his career. Rock says it's not about redemption, it's about Cena getting his ass kicked. Cena thinks he can win, Rock knows he can win. Really awesome preview there. So Randy Orton comes out, and, okay, here's what I don't understand. Randy Orton comes out, obviously, and then basically they're going to be facing the Rhodes Scholars, right? Him and Sheamus against the Rhodes Scholars. Now here's the thing. Randy Orton comes out, and sometime in a commercial break, the Rhodes Scholars came out, right? After we got back from break, Sheamus was introduced. Okay, so basically, in essence, you have Randy Orton as announced, and then we introduce the other team, and then you bring out the other babyface. That makes absolutely zero sense. I understand you want to put over Sheamus. Okay, that's fine. Why don't you just have Orton come out and then Sheamus come out? You don't have Orton, then the Rhodes Scholars, then Sheamus. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's freaking ridiculous. But we get a nice little matchup here. Basically, we'll fast forward as usual. Randy Orton gets the hot tag. He nails clothesline, duck the clothesline, Samoa Joe power slam. You know the normal Randy Orton steez. So Orton is now hitting his interesting version of an exploder T-bone suplex, which I still don't like. And only gets a 2 count. Goes for the snakebite DDT this time, but Sandow this time pulls Rhodes out of the ring. Orton follows up, but gets double teamed by the Rhodes Scholars. So Cody tosses Orton back in. Yay, former legacy collide. And Sandow tags in for the leg sweep and the QBO Acquiette, which is the elbow of disdain, and only gets a 2 count. So basically, Cody tags in, nails some boots, and hits a gourd buster. Only gets the near fall this time around. He goes up top, Orton halts him and hits the superplex, which looked amazing. Both men finally make the tag. Sheamus in, Irish hammers, and the shoulder. He hits a knee lift on Damien Sandow, and of course Sandow hip toss back in. White noise on Sandow. Sheamus goes for the brogue kick. Cody tries to stop him, gets RKO'd, and brogue kick on Sandow, 1, 2, 3. And during the match, Cole and Lawler christened them the Celtic Vipers. Yeah, that's not going to last very long with Randy Orton being finally allowed to turn heel very soon. I think... See, here's the thing. I've been saying for a long time, what would happen if John Cena was behind the Shield? I think at this point, they may be setting up Randy Orton to be behind the Shield. Because if you do that 6-man tag at Mania, you have Orton turn on Sheamus and reveal himself as the leader of the Shield. Or, if you don't want to go that direction, and you still throw the seeds down for my prediction of John Cena being being in charge of the Shield, then you do it completely differently. And what you do is you have Orton just lay Sheamus out and basically say, I'm out for myself. I don't care about you. I don't care about the fans. I don't care about anybody. It's all about the Viper. So you can do it that way. You can make him a loner once again. And that once again turns him heel by default. So that works too. Basically, we're going to go to the movies next as Chris Jericho presents one of the most clusterific segments in the history of WWE Monday Night Raw. The highlight reel. So during the commercial break, thanks to, once again, the WWE active portion of the app, we see Sheamus and Randy Orton walking up the ramp, and they get jumped by the Shield. Randy Orton gets tossed off the stage, and Seth Rollins follows up with a knee trembler, basically nails the knee right to the top of the head of Randy Orton, laying him out. Once again, we're deciding who's going to stop the Shield. We're not going to find out tonight. So we had some really awesome touts from WWE Universe talking about Paul Bearer's career, and it was awesome. Really enjoyable. So basically, Jericho comes out in JJ Sexay's favorite light bright jacket, and he makes his big entrance. It's his first time he's been on television since he was laid out by the Shield, because obviously he's been touring with Fozzy. But still, we'll talk about that later. He introduces us to the highlight reel. Now here's the funny thing. The Jeritron 5000 is out there when we start the segment. He has no... It's just basically a black canvas. That's it. There is no special canvas. There is no furniture. But there is a Jeritron 5000, so we start with that. So basically, he shows us a clip of The Miz's new movie. And basically saying that it was a surprise hit. It did really well in the straight-to-video market. So he introduces The Miz. Jericho is very impressed at how the movie exceeded expectations. So they joke a little bit about Jericho's lack of set before Wade Barrett interrupts and the Intercontinental Champion comes to the ring to decide to show a real movie, Dead Man Down, which of course, number 3 in the box office this week, made about $5 million. Not very good, but still number 3 in the box office, so can't turn that down. So Barrett basically... Okay, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to let you know a little secret. Wade Barrett is not very prevalent in the film, but he's there. He does have dialogue. So I think he'll have more actual screen time than David Otunga will in the call, but you didn't really get to see Barrett's acting chops used very well because he only had a few scenes here and there. He's there, but he's not really talking as much as he could be. He's basically one of Terrence Howard's heavies like I thought he would be, but he's not the main heavy, he's one of them, so keep watching for that. And if you get a chance to watch Dead Man Down, do so. I very much enjoyed it. Enjoyable action flick, and I can't say that very often. WWE Studios has not let me down very much when it comes to theatrical release. I like 12 Rounds, even though John Cena stole my shoes. And I like Dead Man Down, so I have hope for the call, and I hope it'll be as good as I think it was going to be. But then again, it could end up being another one of those should have been straight to DVD thrillers that got lucky and got Halle Berry involved. So, I don't even mention Morris Chestnut. Got both of them involved. But we'll get to that this weekend. And we'll talk about AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews later this week. Now, basically, Barrett says, I've been rejecting dozens. Dozens is not a good way to say it. I've been rejecting dozens of scripts from Hollywood because I'm way too busy being the Intercontinental Champion. And being Wade Barrett. Yeah, I almost went into the accent, sorry. So, of course, we get the really, and I'm a big Miz fan, as you well know. I'm a very big Miz supporter. I'm a big Barrett supporter. This is a really awesome segment for me because of everyone that's involved. But Miz says the real reason he won't shut up about the movie is because Wade Barrett hasn't won a match in weeks, and soon he will drop the Intercontinental title. It's scary how accurate that statement really is. So Jericho interrupts with his Jim Carrey really, which works really well. So Barrett tells him to shut it. Jericho reminds Barrett, yay, they actually talk about history here, that he brought him into the WWE via NXT. He basically was his NXT pro, and he has done great for himself. But Jericho has been where Wade has on 9 occasions, and has no problem taking that title for a 10th time. So, at this moment, all goes to hell. And I hate to say that because I'm a huge fan of Brad Maddox. So, Maddox comes to the ring, and I don't want to talk about this verbatim because there's a lot of really random, and I do mean random, statements that's made in this segment. So, pretty much the gist of this, here we are. He says they're not going to act like this on his show. So Brad calms down and he says, I want to introduce myself. My name is Brad Maddox and I am an upper level executive on Monday Night Raw. This is not verbatim, this is off of memory. But he has a very exciting announcement from Bricky, obviously that's, and he even reiterates this fact that it's him and Vicky Guerrero. Get it, Bricky, get it, Brad, Vicky. Anyway. So the audience is dead silent on this. I mean, like, literally, you could hear a pin drop at this point. So Brad breaks the monotony and goes, tensions are obviously very high. Yeah. Luckily, there's nothing to turn to on Monday night, apparently. So Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler in this segment basically just bury it 100%. Cole speaks over Brad and says, this might be the worst segment in Raw history. Which, I know that's not true. Brad says, here's what he's going to do. You. Okay, you. Wade. Okay. As Cole begs for a commercial, Maddox says, Barrett will have to defend the IC title next week on Raw against the winner of this next match between The Miz and Chris Jericho. So, basically, Maddox talks about not destroying the Geratron 5000 and getting rid of it because, obviously, it's already gone. And they even say that on the mic. Pretty much tell him to hurry up. Because next thing you know, Jericho throws the mic down and Barrett just, like, awkwardly leaves the ring. But, really, God, such a cluster segment. But anyway, we get another commercial break and we have our number 1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship, The Miz against Chris Jericho. So, Jericho locks on, Jericho locks on a reverse chinlock. Miz elbows out of it, hits an Irish whip, he runs into the boot from Jericho. Miz hits a series of clotheslines, Jericho hits a series of shoulder blocks, and Jericho goes off the top with a double axe handle. He crowns him. Miz hits the Yakuza and reverse knife edge chop by the Miz. Of course, he goes for his backbreaker into Steve Corino's old school expulsion. And Jericho counters this time with the running bulldog. He goes for the lion salt, Miz gets his knees up, Jericho goes for the walls, Miz counters, going for the figure four, Jericho counters in the walls, Jericho locks it in, Miz goes to the ropes, Miz falls to the outside, Jericho right after him, Jericho tosses Miz into Wade Barrett, and then Barrett nails both men, so the ref throws the match out. 4 minutes of action. And I don't mind seeing Jericho and Miz go at it, because they're awesome in the ring together, but this is like a whole messed up segment, to be totally honest. Barrett tries to go after Jericho. Miz lays him out with a right hand and tosses him back in the ring. Miz hits skull-crushing finale, and Jericho hits the code breaker. And it looks like we're heading up to a three-way dance next week on Raw, and it was further confirmed later on in the evening that that's exactly what we're going to get. So, we recap the Ricardo Alberto Del Rio parody of Zeb and Jack from SmackDown, which is hilarious. But the funny thing is, if you really think about it, it's hilarious, I guess you could say. I don't know, I guess, honestly, I don't know why I even said that, to be totally honest. It's not very funny. It was mocking both Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger, and I totally understand what it was trying to do, but it came off looking pretty bad, and given the fact that this is such a serious issue that they're fighting over, there's not really room for humor in these type of promos. So, it didn't really work for me, honestly. So we saw Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter, they're kind of agitated, and of course they make their way to the ring. We get back from a commercial break and another awesome Paul Bearer moment. WrestleMania 10, the promo with, obviously, Where's the Undertaker? And Nick Turturro, who was on NYPD Blue at the time, was talking to Paul Bearer. And Paul Bearer was wearing a dress. And then when the Undertaker's gong was heard, the lights went out. And Mr. Fuji was wearing the dress. So that was awesome. Really awesome moment. But we got to our next match when we got back from this. And it was Jack Swagger, the Dark Patriot himself, with Zeb Coulter in his corner against Sin Cara. So Zeb cuts the music and says he's in a bad mood tonight. Excuse me. He's looking at one of the problems in America, and that's Sin Cara. Excuse me. So Zeb rips Cara and calls him a thief. He says every night somewhere there's a Sin Cara with his little band of amigos sneaking across the border trying to take something that belongs to an American. America. So Zeb rips ADR before passing the mic to Jack Swagger. Swagger says he will usher change on April 7th. Okay. Jack, seriously, man, don't use promos that utilize the emphasis on your lisp. I understand you have it, we get it completely, but you don't have to utilize it as much as you do, because it just sounds bad in a sense. So, S's are used a lot in these promos. So basically, Jack hit the ring, and they went at it immediately. Sin Cara with the Hurricane Rana over the ropes, and they both end up on the floor. So Cara kicks him back into the announcer's table and leaps off the top and takes out Swagger. So he's in charge right now. They get back in the ring and Swagger blocks the Hurricane Rana and Cara reverses, flips over into a sunset flip and only gets a 2 count. Cara hits a kick to the head, only gets a near fall this time. He springboards in, he gets caught with a big boot in midair. Swagger works on the leg, locks in the Patriot Lock in a 3-minute win. So after the match, Swagger refuses to break the hold. So ADR makes the save, Swagger gets the upper hand, but Del Rio locks in the crossarm breaker and Zeb pulls him to safety. So that works. I like this segment, but I don't understand the placement of it. We see Halle Berry on set for an interview about the call, and she gets a phone call from David Otunga. He goes, I may have been threatened to disclose your cell phone number. So Halle's kind of angry, and the next thing you know, the phone rings. And the voice goes, I know where you live. How come you don't return any of my fan letters? So of course it's Kane. So Halle goes, you're that freak with a red mask who writes her every day. She says he writes from the depths of hell, wondering how things could be done between them. It's like when kids write Santa Claus, except the opposite. Gold, Jerry, gold. So Halle hangs up and Kane wonders why they won't go on a picnic. So Halle's pissed off at Otunga, which is hilarious, and sets off Kane's pyro with apparently her storm powers from X-Men, maybe? puts a goofy smile on his face. Hilarious. Hilarious. Kane is hilarious. Up next, your main event. Kane against CM Punk. Here's the thing. I don't understand. Okay. You should have shot this. I understand why it was done this week. I would have put it on SmackDown, possibly, because the call would have been out by then, and this didn't make any sense for a fact that you have a very agitated, very legitimately angry Kane trying to take off CM Punk's head, and you have him in a funny, jovial segment with Halle Berry and David Otunga. So, that didn't really make much sense why it was done the way it was. So, Punk comes out first, followed by Kane, who's carrying the urn in remembrance of his father. And we go to commercial break, and we're officially in overtime. Kane goes for a power slam. Punk counters, nails a clothesline out of the corner. He wedges a chair in the corner to go to Irish whip him, but of course he sets up his own demise, and he hits the chair back first once again. Clothesline to the corner by Kane. He hits the sidewalk slam, clothesline over the ropes to the outside. Kane goes after Punk. He whips him hard into the barricade. Kane's going berserk, tossing steel chair upon steel chair back into the ring. He has Punk back in the ring, looks for the chokeslam on the chair. Punk counters with the DDT, only gets a 2 count. So Punk picks up the chair and he's mocking The Undertaker. Kane grabs Punk in the goozle. Punk hits the roundhouse kick to the side of the head, going for go to sleep, but then you hear the bell toll. Punk looks around in panic. Kane's back up, picks him up, goozle, chokeslam, 1, 2, 3, and it's over. So following this match, Taker comes out, and him and Kane both kneel one last tribute to Paul Bearer. Punk nails Kane from behind with the urn. He's assaulting Kane with the urn as Taker charges the ring, well, as fast as he can at this point. And Punk retreats with the urn in hand. He stole the urn. So Taker is just tending to Kane as Punk commits the ultimate sacrilege by mocking Undertaker's pose to Paul Bearer with the urn. Taker is agitated and angry to no depths, signals Punk's demise by... And we have one hell of a way to kick this feud in overdrive. Raw tonight was kind of, I'll use the term wishy-washy. When it came down to it, obviously, the segments for remembering Paul Bearer, phenomenal, amazing. WWE video, incredible. The video department, amazing. There's still the slow burn on who's going to face the Shield at WrestleMania. So obviously you need to build that up soon. I think this coming week on Raw, we're going to start finding out exactly if we're going to get this 6-man tag everybody's talking about. I think now, at this point, and that where we're going at this moment, I'm going to go with everyone else's prediction, and I'm going to say we're getting Hell No against Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston at WrestleMania. So we could have Ziggler legitimately winning 2 titles at WrestleMania, and I don't have any problem with that. We see the New Age Outlaws again, which I would love to see the Outlaws back full-time or minor time or get the titles back for a while. Give them a short run. I have no problem with that. And we have Triple H and Brock Lesnar. They're on a collision course for WrestleMania, and of course Monday night on Raw we will find out Triple H's answer to the question if he is going to be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, no matter what the stipulation may be. Mark Henry and Ryback are going to face each other on SmackDown, and hopefully that will lead up to them facing each other at Mania. 3MB continues to get buried once again. Kofi Kingston, God, it's been a long time since you actually were relevant. Sorry. I really want to see Antonio Cesaro get more wins, but it makes sense that he shows himself and he actually lets people get over on him, and he's the chicken style heel, and it works really well. ADR is awesome with another superstar that I really like. Randy Orton and Sheamus are on a collision course to finally break up, and if that will turn Randy Orton heel, finally, which I know is what he really wants. We see a really clustered segment that ends up getting me Wade Barrett, The Miz, and Chris Jericho on Raw next week for the Intercontinental title. I have no problems with that. Jack Swagger kind of stalling right now, but I think it's going to get better. Sin Cara once again floundering like he always does. Kane gets a much-needed win, and CM Punk gets some comeuppance. So, interesting Raw. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking, I don't know exactly what yet, we'll figure it out. But we're going to have another show tomorrow, like I said, as normal. And that's my Raw recap, and I will join you wrestling fans, obviously, next Monday for Raw. And the TNA fans, obviously, I will join you Friday for Impact. So, until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.